Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting networking lab tutorial. So today we are going to learn about CDP. So in my last video also we have a little bit discussed about CDP. So CDP is basically Cisco Discovery Protocol. So this is an layer 2 protocol which is designed by Cisco to exchange the device information with no underlying routed network. So when we plug two devices directly into each other, they will both send and receive the CDP frame by default on all the interfaces or all the ports. By default CDP is enabled on the Cisco devices, and if you want to disable that CDP, so you can watch my last video. I will share you the link in description. So how we can disable it, you can watch in the video. So let's begin with the CDP. So when we are working on a network with a limited access or we don't have any documentation, get the information using the CDP, which help us to get the entire information. So let's take a real world application example. Okay, so CDP is used in every single day by network engineer worldwide to document and understanding the physical network topology with no documentation at all. CDP operate in layer 2 of the OSI model and exchange device information between Cisco devices as IP address, the physical link connectivity, port informations, what is the iOS version of the neighbor device, what is the device capability. Apart from that, it will also exchange the VLAN information, native VLAN information, what is the duplex settings, and what is the VTP management domain. So it will exchange all these informations. So in this lab we are going to check the below commands and what is the outcome comes by using the below commands. So to begin with the lab, there are some prerequisites which we have to fulfill. So we required packet tracer or GNS, whatever you have you can use that. We are going to demonstrate this lab on GNS3, and you require one router and one switch. Apart from that, we have to connect those router and switch with each other, and we will configure the management IP addresses on both the devices. So on router we are going to configure it on fast Ethernet interface, and on switch we are going to configure it on the VLAN 1 interface. So let's open a new project. Then we will take one router. So we are taking C7200 series, and we will take one switch. We will connect this switch and router with the cable. So we will connect it on fast Ethernet 0x0, and we will take fast Ethernet 0x0 on switch as well. So this way we are going to connect both our devices. Now we will start these devices and open the console of this application. So now we have opened the console of both router and switch. So this is for the console of switch, and this is for router. So let's get into the objective. So today we are going to see using the router R1 determine which iOS feature set and version is running on the switch 1. So we are going to check the details of our neighbor using the Cisco Discovery router. So we are checking on R1 and check the information of switch 1. Then similarly we are going to do using the switch 1, we will determine the IP address of R1 learned via CDP. And similarly by using R1 we will determine the port R1 is connected to the switch 1. And next objective is using the R1 we will going to determine what is the native VLAN and VTP domain configured on the device. Apart from that, we are going to change the default timer on both R1 and switch 1 from 60 and 180 to 1545, and we will verify the configurations on both the devices. So let's move into our first objective. So using only R1 router, we need to determine which iOS feature set and version is running on the switch 1. So to determine this information, you will exactly use the command show CDP neighbor detail. This command is run on the privilege mode on router. So we are going to run the command show CDP neighbor detail. So you can able to see once we have put the command, it will show us the device ID. So device ID is ESW1. You can able to see this is the switch name ESW1. So this will show you the device ID of the neighbor. It will show you which make and model of that particular device, which interface it is connected, and which is the outgoing interface. So we have connected on both for fast Ethernet 0x0 on switch as well as our router. So it will show you the interface of the switch and the outgoing interface of the router. What is the hold time? It will reflect here 137 seconds, and it will show you the version of this particular device. So whatever the version running on that particular switch, it will show you that particular version of that switch. Apart from that, it will show you the advertisement version, VTP management domain. So right now it is null, so that's why there is no value written here, and it will show you the duplex settings. So we have discussed earlier that these kind of informations we will get when we will run the command show CDP neighbor details. So in our task 1, we need to verify two things. We need to check the software version, iOS version which is running, and we have to verify which iOS features are set. So iOS version is written here, it is 12.4, and other features we have already seen that it will show you the advertisement version, VTP management domain. If it is configured, it will show you the domain name, and what is the duplex of that particular interface, it will show you that. These informations you are going to get when you run show CDP neighbor details. Now move into the next task. So using the switch 1, we need to determine the IP address of R1 learned via CDP. So to obtain this information, we are going to run this command on switch 1. So before that, we need to configure the IP address on router interface, which is our prerequisite. So we are going to configure it, configure terminal, then we will move into the interface, fast Ethernet 0x0, then we will run command IP address, and then we will put the IP address. So the IP which we need to configure, that was 192.168.255.1, and then subnet mask, and we will do the no shut to the interface. So this way we will going to configure the IP address. You can verify it, do show IP interface brief. So this will show you the IP address configured on the fast Ethernet interface, and the status is up as well. Moving into the switch, we are going to determine the IP address of R1 learned via CDP. So we will run the command so CDP neighbor detail. So once we put the command, you can able to see it will show you the device ID of router R1. It will show you the IP address. So this is the IP address which we have configured on this particular router interface. So this will show you the IP address. Then it will show you the platform or the router version, which router we are using. Similarly, it will show you the interface and the outgoing interface details. Which iOS version is running, it will show you the iOS version. So in this router it is running as 15.24. this is the model which we are using right now. Okay, apart from that, it will show you the advertisement version, version is 2 only, but duplex you can able to see it is showing as half. So whatever the information it is getting from that particular router, it will reflect here. So this way you can verify what is the IP address configured on the router or the neighbor which is connected without logging into the particular device. Moving into the next, we need to determine the port connected on switch 1. So similarly, to obtain this information, we can run a command show CDP neighbor. So this will show you the particular device ID along with the interface which is connected. So let's run this command. We will move into the router, we will check for switch. So we have to determine from the switch. We will exit from here, show CDP neighbor. So this will show you that particular device ID, that ESW1, so switch 1, which is connected on local interface is fast Ethernet 0x0. This is the whole time. Okay, and the capability is SI. S is for switch and I is for IGMP. Okay, and the platform, this is the version of the router, and the port ID means the exit interface ID, which is from where it is connected. It will show you this information if you run the CDP neighbor. So in this you can able to see that R1 fast Ethernet enter is connected to switch 1 fast Ethernet 0x0 interface. So this way you can identify on which particular interface this particular device is connected. You can verify from there. Moving into our next objective. So we need to determine the native VLAN and VTP domain which is configured on our switch using the R1 router. So we are already on the R1 router. We will run that same command, so CDP neighbor detail. So you can able to see this will show you the management domain. What is our management domain? VTP management domain. So right now VTP management domain is showing null. We will configure the VTP management domain name, then we will verify whether the name is getting changed or not. So now we are going to configure the VTP domain. So we are into the switch right now. We will check the status first. So VTP status. So this will show you the switch status. Right now if you see, we have running this particular device is capable to run version 1 and version 2. Right now it is version 1. VTP domain name is null right now. Okay, and this particular device is run as an server. So by default, any switch which is connected or configured, it is running as a server only. We will moving into our next objective. So we have to change the default timer on R1 and switch 1 from 60 second / 180. So 60 second is the timer on which CDP packet will be sent, and 180 is the whole timer. We are going to modify the timer from 60 to 15 second, and for whole time we will modify it from 180 to 45 second, and then we will verify the configuration. To make these changes, we need to run a command CDP timer. So this will modify the first timer. So let's get into the timer configuration. We have to first go to the configure terminal, then we will type CDP, and if you put a question mark, so there is an option to change the whole time. So this will specify the whole time in second to be sent in the packet, and the timer which we are going to change, these are the packet which is CDP packet which are sent between two devices. This is the timer for that. So before that we will check the current CDP status. So you run a command CDP, just run a command do show CDP. So this will show you the current timer. So sending CDP packet every 60 seconds, sending a whole time value of 180 seconds. So this is the default values. Now we are going to modify it. So first we will change the CDP timer from 60 to 15 seconds. So we will change the CDP timer, and now we are going to change the CDP whole timer from 180 to 45. So we have modified both the timers. Now if we run this command, you can able to see that CDP packet is sending every 15 seconds and the whole time value is 45 seconds. So we have modified the timers in router. Now we are going to modify the timers in switch. So similarly we will run the command in switch also. So this will so we will check the default one, show CDP. So we will run the command do show CDP. So this will show you the current timers. This default timers are 60 seconds and 180 seconds. Now we are going to modify it. So CDP timer, we will make it for 15 seconds, and then we will modify the whole time. CDP whole time 45, and if you verify, then now the CDP packet is sending every 15 seconds and whole time value is 45 seconds. So we will validate for our neighbor switch. So do show CDP neighbor detail. So now you can see whole timer is 38 seconds. So it will decrement from 50 to 0, and then again it will came the whole time will came 50. And if we run do show CDP neighbor, so this will show you the current hold time. Hold time is 43 seconds for the neighbor device, that is router R1. This way you can modify the timers in CDP. So that's all for the today's lab. I hope you find this helpful. If you have any doubts or any questions, you can comment. Thanks for being with me. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up, and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all the things related to the networking. Thank you so much.